Make sure you are creating for the right reasons. Make sure you are creating for your soul, for your authentic self, for the people that are going to appreciate it, for the people that are going to find it and they'll understand. And if it takes a minute, it might. But don't create out of ego. Create like you are creating for God. Create like you are giving back to the gifts that God gave to you. Period. If you're putting a little filter on your ability to be yourself, your ability to create authentically, the message that you need to bring to the world is not going to be expressed in its fullness. The people that need to hear whatever it is that you need to express in your authenticity, it's not gonna land and it's not gonna find them. Hello everybody, welcome back to Somehow. I feel like it's Christmas with my nails and my hoodie right now. That's crazy. It is currently July. I don't know why I hesitated. I was like, is it June or July? It's July. I'm coming from you live from Sydney. Just kidding, I'm in Byron Bay. I don't know why I said Sydney. I'm kind of on one right now, but we're here and we're talking and we're recording and this is happening. So here we are. And that intro just relates to this episode, okay? The theme of this episode today. And that is people-pleasing kills creative authenticity, okay? This is still something that I am mastering, as you can see. It's like when I'm recording and when I'm sort of trying to get into the flow of things, I have little breaks in my thought of like what other people are going to see and what other people are going to watch, and it interrupts my flow. So I'm trying to right now, like as I sort of jump into being a creative online and creating and whatever, I'm like still getting used to this podcast. So I'm having to sort of almost train my brain, or just it's almost like this awareness or just mindfulness as I'm creating to like get into it and get into the flow. And I feel like it's like painting. Like sometimes I'll be like watercoloring or something and I start and my brain's sort of like still going, you know, there's still some thoughts coming in here, coming in there, but once I go for a while, my brain can just really zone in and get locked in and you enter flow state, right? And it just feels so good. And so I've really been sort of practicing that every time before I sit down and record, of like, okay, I know that for the first 5 minutes, this episode is probably going to be a little awkward, or it's just not going to flow as easily until I can sort of reach that point where I'm like, okay, like the ball is rolling. And I've had so many like podcast episodes that I've recorded before this where it was like, I've posted them and I'm like, okay, I just hope people wait until the 7-minute mark, because that's when it really gets going. Like that's when we pick it up. So that has been just what I've been learning. But I remember I had this thought a while back. So basically I first started this podcast January of 2026. Right now it's July, as we know. But in January, when I was starting the podcast, it was really hard for me to sort of, you know, I was still finding my authenticity. I was still finding my voice. I was still figuring out myself in general. Like I was out traveling. I was hopping around. I was actually, I think I mentioned this, I don't know, I was in Sydney. But when I started this podcast, it was like I was trying to simultaneously also work through the fear of what other people were going to think. So it was like I was trying to create, I was trying to work through that. And at the time, I was sort of molding them together. Like I thought that I had to fit a certain mold. I thought I had to be a certain way, speak a certain way, edit a certain way. Like I was trying to be perfect. And if you go back and look at the first episodes, you can tell. Like you can tell. And she ate, okay, I'm a queen. But back then, it was like I was being so perfectionistic with it that it just wasn't me. And I sort of knew that at the time, but like at the same time, I was like, nah, this is what people are gonna want to watch. Like they want empowerment, they want like, you know, and of course, like I want to empower people as well, but also it's like I didn't have to be this like so stoic all the time and just so like polished and planned. And that's what those episodes felt like, and they were so planned out. And a couple months before that also, I remember I tried to start the podcast, and the first episode I did, I wrote it out word for word on a script. And I sat on a table with my voice memos out and I read the script. I'm not kidding. I was trying to be so perfect about it. And it just like, I remember listening to it and I was like, this sounds ridiculous. Like, actually, this sounds so fake and so performative. And I mean, if I put it out there, I'm sure some people would have been like, oh no, this is good knowledge, but like they could see, like they could probably tell. And I feel like when you're online nowadays, you can sort of tell when people are being like not authentic. Like, okay, I saw this TikTok the other day and I really want to find it because I want to link the video in this, because it was this guy and he was talking about the importance of being authentic. And he was saying how like if you are performing for the eyes of other people, it's like you have your authenticity, but then it's almost like this little barrier in between, and then it's like what you're doing. Wait, I think that's what it was. It was like your authentic self and then what you're doing. And there's a barrier in between that represents, you know, maybe the fears that you have, getting in your head about things, like perceiving yourself through the eyes of others, like whatever that in between is, that's like not allowing you, your performative self and your authentic self to come together. That's what's going to inhibit your ability as a creative to be authentic and to express yourself in the most genuine, authentic way. And I thought that that was so cool because I was like, that is so true. It's so true. And if you go online and you watch someone be authentic, it's like mesmerizing. It's like, I was listening to this podcast the other day. It was How to Be Famous with Whitney Yulin, but she was talking about how like, if you watch a dog, right, who's unaware of itself, who's just so in the moment, looking around everywhere, like just in the moment, it's like mesmerizing. Same with a little kid, like who's just so innocent, running around, he's just present in the moment, like exploring life. It's so mesmerizing to see someone in their authenticity. And it's like just so cool. And so I feel like recently, like as a creator, I mean, I am starting to get more serious about my podcast, but it's been such a process of figuring out my authenticity. And like, if you go watch my recent videos, you can tell like the phases that I went through. Like literally, I was laughing about this today because when I first started, I was in Sydney, so polished, so clean, so cut. I was doing it for the eyes of other people. And then like a couple months later, I was like, that I moved into a van and I lived in a van for like a month, which isn't that long, but like you can tell when I was living in the van, I was like, no makeup vibes. I'm outside all the time. I'm at the beach. I don't care. Like I'm not polished. Like the lighting in that episode was actually like dog. Like it was crazy. But anyways, the episode's in there. But it's just funny seeing the progression of like, okay, like you can tell I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to discover myself. And it's honestly such a process of like finding that authenticity for yourself in whatever you're doing, right? Because like, for me, I've had to discover it through my voice and through voicing my thoughts as they come on the timeline in which they arrive in the most authentic way without questioning myself, without saying like, oh, why'd you say that? Or getting on myself midway through because that breaks up the flow, or without having to, you know, I get random thoughts of like, oh, someone's gonna watch this, or like people are gonna watch this, but it's like that breaks up the flow. And also when I was listening to Whitney Yulin, shout out to her, How to Be Famous by Whitney Yulin, love her podcast, but she was talking about as well, I need to find these episodes, but she was saying how like when you have eyes on you, it's hard to be feminine. It's hard to be in your feminine, right? Because the flow state is so feminine. And so it's like when you're in that flow state and you have these eyes on you, it can almost like break up your flow. And I was practicing this at the gym because it's like when I get to the gym, I'm a Leo rising, okay? For anyone that knows astrology, I'm a Leo rising. I'm so aware of the eyes that are on me. I love a stage. I love to perform. I love sitting in front of a camera and talking. So I'll do it. But like, I get so aware of who's looking at me. And sometimes I own it. Sometimes I want to shrink inside of myself and just be like, don't look at me right now. But when I'm at the gym and I'm walking around, like I have been practicing like staying in my body, staying in my flow and not letting any outside noise in and break it up and break how I'm walking and break what I'm doing. Because in the past, it would just make me like act a little bit different. And maybe that's normal. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But I would be very aware of it. And sometimes like if someone was like watching me so intently, I would just like get weird. Like I would just like, why are you staring? I mean, why are you staring in the first place? Like, come on. But like, I mean, I know. I'm just kidding. But it's just like, I don't know how to act sometimes. And I'm just like, guys, why are we all looking at me right now? I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But I feel like, I'm not trying to sound like self-absorbed. So I'm sorry, not sorry if it's coming off like that, because no, that's just my truth and that's what I had to say. So I'm just gonna be raw and authentic and whatever. But anyways, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. See? Like me, guys, this is happening in real time. Me tripping out about what you guys are gonna think of me, interrupting my flow. Like, exactly. But the gym. See, we're back. But it's like when I'm at, yeah, so it's like I've just been practicing that, like owning my flow, owning how I'm speaking, and like, yeah. So it's like for me it's really with my voice, and I feel like I've been challenged a lot when it comes to just owning my truth and speaking my truth and being real about, you know, being bold about what I have to say. And that's something that I'm really learning right now, especially with this podcast. And it's a little bit of a journey, but I feel like with anyone, with whatever creative act that you're doing, you have to sort of go through trial and error and a process to figure out what your creative authenticity looks like. It's like you have to really experiment with that, and it sort of takes a minute, but you also have to release so many molds that you have on yourself, and that, you know, that could be from what you expect from yourself. It could be from societal expectations, societal conditioning of what they expect of you, or, you know, whatever. And it's sort of like you have to work through a lot of, you know, inner confinements in order to get to that place where you can freely be yourself without caring about anybody else's opinions or judgments. And I think that's such a powerful place to be. And yes, there's so much power in that. Like, finding your authenticity has so much power with it, and it's just so cool to watch. Like, when you meet someone who is just fully themselves, like, I love that. I love that. And, you know, there's this Fred Again song, and at the very end of the song, he says, what is it? It's like, find people that don't try to talk you into being normal. And I forgot the song. I love Fred Again. I'll find it and put it in. Okay, guys, I have some things to find after I record this, but that song is so good. But I love that. It's like, don't find people that talk you into being normal. Don't find people that you feel like you have to fit a certain mold to be around, that you feel like, you know, you can't step outside of that in order to, like, whatever, you know. Like, I feel like, especially when you're doing something creative, it's like being around people that have those open minds and just open minds, open energy. Like, not open energy, but it's like you feel comfortable breaking the molds of societal norms or societal expectations or any expectation in general around them. And I think that's so important in order to discover yourself and who you want to become. I really think, too, this topic translates into people pleasing in limiting your authentic self. And it's almost like when you are around someone and you're speaking to someone, it's almost like this filter that's in between the two of you. But it's like in your mind, right? They're just receiving whatever you're saying. And honestly, as an ex-people pleaser, I still people please, but I'm trying to get over it. But as someone that used to be a very big people pleaser, I can now pick up on it really fast. Like, when someone's people pleasing, and it's okay, like, it's fine. It's really normal, to be honest. But I see it as like there's a filter between us, and it sort of limits me from getting to know you, and it limits you from getting to know me. And that is, you know, people pleasing, it just limits the connection that could be, right? And you know what? I feel like that's true with creativity, okay? I've quoted this book. I've quoted this quote actually like 3 times in the last like 3 episodes, which is so funny. But The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. He says in the book that ideas will arrive at the right time from source when they are meant to be expressed from the right person, right? And then if you bring that idea to life, if you bring it into the world, I believe that it's going to find whoever it's meant to find, right? But if you're putting a little filter on your ability to be yourself, your ability to create authentically, and you're doing it for the eyes of other people, the message that you need to bring to the world is not going to be expressed in its fullness. The people that need to hear whatever it is that you need to express in your authenticity, it's not gonna land and it's not gonna find them. Because if you're creating with the eyes of other people, it's going to land in the sense of like, maybe it'll get likes and maybe it'll get views, maybe it's trendy, but that's just commercialized at that point. It's like you can't be, art is a form of self-expression and uniqueness and whatever it is. And it's like, if you can bring that to life, it'll find the right people. It'll find the people that it's meant to reach. So, like, own it. Own it. Own yourself. Own your authenticity. And, like, look, God created you for a reason. All the traits that you have, all the qualities you have, they are beautiful for how they are. And you do not have to dim any of that to fit anyone's boxes or anybody's standards. And if you can own that light, own that fire, for me, I'm talking to myself, own your boldness and your power and whatever it is that's deep inside of yourself. If you can just own that, you're going to find the right people. You're going to inspire the right people. You're going to find what's meant for you. And I saw this other TikTok. So many TikToks and so many videos. But I saw this other TikTok that was like, if I didn't spend so much time dimming so many parts of myself, if I didn't spend so much time dimming so many parts of myself for so long, I wouldn't have had to spend so much time digging them back up, finding them again. That was just you. That was just you. That was your authentic self. And, I think back when I think about who I am, because this is a process that I have been going through. I think back to my inner child. I think back to me when I was little and how I was and who I was before I had all this shit piled on top of me. All these expectations, all these ways of being, all this, don't do this, don't say that, whatever. And I think back to her and I'm like, what did she love? What did she love? What did she want to do? What energies did she like? Like, what was she like? And I feel like that's such a good place to start. But I don't know. I think for your creative process, though, it's something you have to explore. And as I've been discovering myself, I have just been having so much fun with creating, because it's like, I feel like I get to bring new sides to myself when I record and I sit down and I'm like, and see these red nails? I would have never gotten red nails like 5 months ago. So guys, I'm telling you, we are learning, we are exploring, and that's the most important part. But anyways, okay, I think that's all I have to say. But, actually, one other good point. Break the molds that you have for yourself. Seriously, be mindful of them. Be mindful of the ways that you think you need to be and how you need to appeal to certain people. When I was doing the research of like how to post this podcast on TikTok, how to get momentum, like whatever. The intention is not to get famous. The intention is not to, of course, if you want to make money off of your craft and make money off of your creativity, then okay, there has to be maybe some sort of marketing that goes into it. But make sure you are creating for the right reasons. Make sure you are creating for your soul, for your authentic self, for your authentic expression, for the people that are going to appreciate it, for the people that are going to find it and they'll understand. And if it takes a minute, it might. But don't create out of ego. Create like you are creating for God. Create like you are giving back to the gifts that God gave to you. Period. Okay? I was in flow state just now. So, love that. I love that. But we're still figuring it out, okay? And that's okay. It's a process. And right now, as I'm sort of going through this, it sort of feels very like up in the air. Like, I can try this, I can try that, I can go this route. Like, it's been like that for a while. And now I'm like starting to ground a little bit, and that's good. But again, it's a process, and I feel like I'll find my rhythm. But break the molds that you have for yourself, or else when you create, you're just gonna be in a flow state, and then you're gonna hit a little wall. You're gonna hit a little, oh, what are they gonna think? Oh, like I need to do this, I need to act like that, I need to whatever. And then you're gonna go back, and then you're gonna pivot backwards. Let yourself be, let yourself do whatever. Be vulnerable with yourself. Release perfectionism. That's what I had to do. That was a big thing for me. Okay, I'm getting sick of talking now. But those were my 2 cents. Those were my 2 cents. And yeah. Wow, I'm really proud of myself, because usually like I've been I filmed another episode earlier, and it was the beauty and stillness, and I'm going to post that one probably either before or after this one. But I really planned that one out a lot, and it was really stressing me out, because like I feel like when I pick a episode topic, I can just get into a flow in my journal of like, okay, I'll talk about this and then that, and then like I go down these different rabbit holes, but then it's just like so overwhelming. Like when I was planning this episode, I had like 5 pages of just like writing, and I'm like, I can't even plan with this. Like, this is just too much. So for this, I didn't plan. I asked myself when I was eating just now, and I was like, oh, that's another thing. I was like, oh, maybe I should just try to get into a flow state before I start recording. I think that would help my brain. So I was just like listening to music and, doing my thing or whatever. But when I was eating, I asked my brain, I was like, I asked my brain, I was like, how does people pleasing inhibit creative authenticity? And when you ask your brain a question, your brain loves a puzzle, okay? Your brain loves it. So I was like eating, and I was just letting it simmer. Like I was letting it sort of, okay, we have the question there, that's good. And then I just sit down and I record, and I honestly loved it so much. So I'm just sharing my process. I don't know why I'm just yapping, but we'll put it out anyways. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening and so much for watching. This episode was super random, but I'm happy I recorded it. I had fun. So, love you guys so much. Welcome back to Somehow. If you're new here, welcome to Somehow. My name is Lauren. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you have a great morning, evening, night, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Okay, bye.